This video is about understanding the role of motivation in consumer behavior. When we discuss how people making purchasing decisions, it all starts with a basic concept. They have a need or a reason to acquire something. So, what makes people decide to buy things? The answer is because they require it. This need is similar to a strong feeling that drives them to purchase something. This emotion plays an important role in understanding how people make purchasing decisions. It's known as motivation. Motivation is all about what people anticipate, want, and require. People buy goods because they have particular thoughts and sentiments that lead them to do so. For people who sell things like marketers, it's really important to figure out what's motivating people to buy. They need to understand what makes people want to get something. But here's the thing, before someone can buy something, they have to feel that need really strongly. That need is what we call motive. So, what exactly is a motive? Motivation is a strong desire that drives someone to obtain something. All of those thoughts and feelings are what drive a person to act. When this desire develops strong enough, it becomes a purchasing motive, which means it is the inner drive that drives someone to purchase anything. People buy things because they are affected by many factors. Several motives might sometimes impact someone's decision at the same time. When purchasing a television, for example, a person may be concerned with the brand, the design, and the price. There are some theories about why people are motivated to buy things. One of them is called the psychoanalytic theory, which was developed by a famous psychologist named Sigmund Freud. He believed that our minds have different forces at work, like the ID, superego, and ego. These forces can push us to do things, but they sometimes conflict with each other. ID, the free mechanism that leads to strong drives, is referred to as the ID. The ID is present in every human mind from birth. Morality or ethics have no bearing on these argues or objectives. The ID is a driving force that drives people toward hostility, destruction, and pleasure seeking. It motivates people to meet their basic needs when they develop regardless of social standards, morals, or ethics. If a person does not make efforts to meet their basic needs as they occur, the idea attempts to lead them to destruction. As a result, it reflects the most extreme aspect of one's mind, the devil's mentality. Superego. The superego is another mental power that operates in people. All moral norms are compelled to be followed by the conscience of an individual. The superego is extremely intelligent and strives for moral behavior. It essentially pushes the individual to disregard their basic wants in order to behave like an angel or Superman. We, on the other hand, are neither devils nor angels. We are human beings. As humans, we must meet our basic wants, but we must do it in ways that are acceptable to our cultures. This is when the ego comes into play. As you are aware, the ID and superego are two extreme forces in our minds that are frequently at conflict. Ego. The ego tries to balance these two opposing forces in our psychology or mind. It is essentially a reality principle, considering the implications and attempting to reconcile with reality. The ego acts as a balancing device, leading to socially acceptable behavior and imposing rationally on the ID. It thinks about the consequences of an activity rather than rushing into it. The ego directs us in meeting our basic needs in a socially and morally acceptable manner. In summary, the ID argues pleasurable activities, the superego presents the ethical choices at hand, and the ego acts as the arbitrator, deciding whether or not to proceed. According to Freud, an individual's behavior depends on the strength of these forces in their mind. If the ego is stronger than other two forces, the individual's behavior will be seen as socially and morally unacceptable. If the superego is stronger, than the ID and ego, the individual will behave like a Superman or an angel. On the other hand, if the ego is stronger in their mind, their behavior will be similar to that of most other humans in society. Another theory is the cognitive theory, which is a more modern idea. It suggests that our motivation is linked to how we think and process information. It's all about how we solve problems and make decisions. This theory has been really helpful for understanding why people buy things and how advertising and packaging can influence them. Now let's talk about something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a way to understand why people do what they do. According to this idea, there are different level of needs and people try to satisfy them in a certain order. At the bottom of the hierarchy are the most basic needs like food and safety. Once these are met, people move up to higher needs like belonging to a group, feeling important and reaching their full potential. This hierarchy helps us understand what drives people to make decisions. For example, if someone is really hungry, they will focus on getting food before worrying about anything else. But if they are not hungry, they might think about other needs like being with friends or feeling good about themselves. In the real world, people often have different needs at the same time and their motivations can change depending on the situation. This is why marketers have to be clever and offer products that can satisfy multiple needs at once. So understanding motivation is a big part of why people buy things, and it's a key factor for those who want to sell products successfully. Products can therefore be sold to fill a variety of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a useful tool for understanding consumer motivations and is readily adaptable to marketing strategy, primarily because consumer goods often serve to satisfy each of these need levels. For example, individuals buy houses, food, and clothing to satisfy psychological needs. They buy insurance and vocational training to satisfy safety and security needs. Almost all personal care products, cosmetics, mouthwash, saving are bought to satisfy social needs. Luxury products are often bought to fulfill ego needs. Marketers should note that very often the marketing success of a brand depends on its ability to satisfy several needs at once. Thank you for watching this video.